I'm actually being very honest. He was an excellent president. The reason he's doing so well in the polls is that he kept us out of wars and he grew the economy. That's the answer.
So you're not trying to take this thing from him then. I mean, you sound like a surrogate right now. You're not trying to take it from him.
That's why these debates are so important, because you see a frat boy who's perhaps auditioning for a television show, which he may get, versus a woman who's a diplomat and a politician who can be the president of the United States. So brava.
By this point, you should know that Vivek Ramaswamy is far from a serious presidential candidate, and losing support from Fox News commentators is probably the final blow to his presidential hopes.
I think he was going after the soundbite, and clearly we were playing it, but ironically, the one son of immigrants and minority on the stage who preaches that identity politics is not what we need to do, he went there with one of his own colleagues. So I actually appreciate, ironically, that very low moment on Vivek, because we got to see a different side of Nikki Haley that I think the country is appreciating today.
So Ramaswamy and Haley were arguing about how he called her a Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels, and she did not appreciate that sexist comment. So she said, they're 5-inch heels, first of all, and I don't wear them unless you can run in them, and added, I don't wear them as a fashion statement, I wear them for ammunition. Right? So that was a bar. But then Vivek also attacked her own daughter by saying, yo, you made fun of me for joining TikTok, but your own daughter was on the app for a very long time. So maybe you should check on your family first. Maybe you should call out your family. She was like, leave my daughter out of this. Here's the thing. I feel like this battle, this small battle between them is going to be won, or going to be seen as a victory for Haley, because that was just a low blow from Vivek Ramaswamy. No need to go after her daughter or talk about her heels, right? It just shows insecurity. And I think as far as polling, it's going to help. Parts of that exchange help Vivek, because you do have sexist and misogynistic Republican voters, right? But then the voters, Republican voters who are not misogynistic or sexist and want to stand up for women, men and women, right? It'll help her out in the polling. But here's the thing, guys. Vivek is even losing support from the Republican Party's own infrastructure.
I have to ask you first about what Vivek Ramaswamy said. He went after you personally.
He did. I'm not going to do that. I'm always going to focus on the Democrats. I will say this, Dana. This Republican on Republican infighting, I'm not running for president, so I'm not in this primary, isn't helping our party.
He was criticizing you personally, but he was also criticizing the notion of having a debate with somebody other than a conservative media outlet.
I stand by our choice to go with a non-conservative media outlet. I think NBC did a great job. And if you can't take a tough question, then you probably shouldn't be running for president.
The RNC doesn't do state races. We're a federal committee, so we weren't involved in those races on Tuesday. I know Vivek's kind of newer to the party. He voted for Obama, so he may not know that. He's at 4%. He needs a headline. I'm going to say what I've been saying to Republicans all along. Our headlines should be about Joe Biden, the border, fentanyl, crime, terrible things that are happening in this country that the American people are looking to our party for solutions. But I also will stand by my record as RNC chair.
I do think that was the right-wing media's way of trying to subtly push out Vivek Ramaswamy from the presidential race on the Republican side, because so many jabs in those clips. Number one, yeah, if you can't take a tough question, you probably shouldn't be running for president. Like, get out of here, guy. Two, I know he voted for Obama, so he probably doesn't understand how we get down on the Republican side. And three, he's only looking for a headline because he's polling at 4%. Basically, nobody takes him seriously, and we don't see him as a core part of our party. And it's basically, be gone, Vivek, be gone. The other interesting thing is, all the Republican candidates' solutions to solve the issues McDaniel's talking about are pretty much the same across the board. But their policies don't even solve the root cause of the talking points they're addressing, which McDaniel loves to continue to ramble about.
We have to talk about better care for adoption and pregnancy crisis centers, and we have to take this issue head on. And if we put our heads in the sand and pretend it's not there, we're going to lose, because Democrats will define us. And you know, Democrats are extreme on this issue. They do believe in abortion up until the date of birth. They do believe what China and North Korea does in gender selection abortion. So if we can't talk about this issue and we allow them to define us, that's what they're going to do, because they can't run on anything else. They can't run on crime or the border or fentanyl or national security or inflation. So they're putting all their money in this basket. And what Tuesday night taught us is Republicans have to respond.
We lost races in 2022 because of vitriol within our party. We need every Republican and then some to win elections And the Republican voters want to hear us talk about the border, fentanyl, Israel, our kids, crime, inflation, and they want to see us take on Joe Biden.
Republican policies, by virtue of them being right-wing positions, really negatively affect the vast majority of Americans, including Republican voters. When we talk about gun deregulation, restricting labor unions, increasing military spending, privatizing education, lowering the taxes on the rich and wealthy, all of those things and so much more healthcare are going to hurt a lot of their base. But here's the thing. The right-wing media plays such a significant role in convincing people to continue to vote Republican, which will only perpetuate the endless cycle of misery for so many Americans. It's this idea that, hey, you need to vote for us or else these other individuals are going to get over on you and they're going to take away your rights, when in fact that is not the case whatsoever. But because they play on their emotions a lot of the times, that's what drives them to vote Republican and not only hurt people who are on the Democrat side of the aisle, but also on their own side of the aisle. Yeah, well, that's how it works. That's how it works.